Hello, today's lesson is 10-8 and it's called Using Fractions. You have learned to compare fractions and find equivalent fractions. Today you'll use your fraction skills to solve a problem. You've learned to use fraction strips, number lines, and number sense strategies to compare fractions. Why are these strategies helpful? A lot of my students like to look at pictures of the fractions to help them see which ones are bigger and which ones are smaller. And we're really trying to use more number sense strategies like thinking about how the fractions compare to 1/2 so that we don't have to rely on those number strips and number lines. Here's a problem to puzzle over. Marie, Liz, and Ted are putting tiles on a wall. Each wall is the same size. Marie has finished 2/6 of her wall. Liz has finished 5/8 of her wall. Ted has finished 1/4 of his wall. Who has the least amount finished? Pause the video if you need to think about this. This is a tough question. Our first job is to pull out the very most important information. Here I've highlighted the important fractions and the word least. What I really need to know is which of these three fractions is the least. Students explained how they solved this problem, and what I was glad to hear was they were saying, I compared these fractions to 1/2 in my mind. 5/8 is a fraction we don't see a whole lot, but we do know how it compares to 1/2 because we know it's a little bigger than 4/8, and we know 4/8 is the same as 1/2. So we know it can't be 5/8 that's the smallest or the least. Then we're just comparing 2/6 and 1/4. Since 2/6 is the same as 1/3, using benchmark fractions, I remember that 1/4 is less than 1/3. It has to be 1/4 is the least. If I did have my fraction sheet, my fraction strips in front of me, I could draw lines for each of these fractions. The highest line you see at the top of that page there is 1/4. That's how much Ted has finished. Then you see a red line on the 6th row, and it's showing 2/6. Lastly, at the bottom you see a line on the 8th row, and it's showing 5/8. When I compare the lines like this, it's easy to see that 1/4 is the smallest because 1/4 is the farthest to the left. That was it for today.